Alright, apparently I'm live. Yay! Ah, so, had Bathurst today, and I'm gonna have a chill stream. I need a shave, I think. Anyway, it was a race. I think I'm just gonna go through the results, and I guess we'll just talk about it a bit. So, yep. We'll go through. This is the actual race result. So obviously Garth Tander and Matt Payne won from 18th place. Dave Reynolds and Lee Holdsworth came second from 15th, and Jimmy Golding and Dave Russell third from 13th. So pretty good result. This is probably not going to be a very long stream either. I'm not feeling the best. I'm looking to lie down. I think that'll be good for me. And yeah, got Cooper Murray down there. He did a great job all weekend, and just wasn't able to come away with the results. Got Cam Hill, Cam McLeod managed to come 5th. They weren't really anywhere all weekend. They got in the shootout, but they weren't able to do anything. They didn't seem to have the race car to do the job. Feeney and Whincup. Obviously, Triple Eight actually had really fast cars during the race. Not so fast cars in qualifying. So I found it funny when they were like, "Oh, Will Brown's the fastest car in the warm-up." I'm like, "Yeah, a bit late, guys. Bit late to have a fast car. Like, you should have had a faster car in qualifying when it matters. You can't keep showing up at the end and being like, 'Hey, guys, remember us?'" No. And I love how it's always like Scott Pye dragging the number 1 car up to the top 10, then handing it to Will Brown. And then Will Brown goes and sticks it in the fence pretty much. It was like Feeney and Whincup did a great job, and then Feeney was the one who did the bad job. I think both the co-drivers did brilliant jobs at Triple Eight, and the main drivers screwed up. But yeah, I would get into parody. I've got some screenshots and stuff like that, but I don't know. I'll get into it. I think there's a lot of technicalities. They put out a report that Brody was talking about, and saying that, Supercars aren't paying attention to the parody. They're just worried about politics. And I came up with a drinking game, but I wasn't able to do the drinking game, which is like take a shot every time a Ford passes a Chev, like on track, and down the straights. So I thought it was interesting. We were watching Payne battling with Golding and Murray for the win, and Ryan Wood as well, trying to battle for the win. Every time they go down the straights, I'm looking at Matt Payne being like, so the issue is about like straight line speed, right? And it's like every time they talk about a fast car down the straights, it's always a Chev, it's never a Ford. But at the same time, there's setups, there's exit speed, there's lots of tiny factors. Like, we assume that the drivers are doing the perfect job of driving their cars, but they're obviously racing against one another, so you're not going to get the perfect exit every time. And so when you're watching Matt Payne racing against Jimmy Golding and Cooper Murray, but I was looking at the Ryan Wood's car. He seemed to have like the best car. Jimmy Golding, I think, didn't actually have that good a car. He just sort of just drove the thing as fast as he could, and made a mistake. And shoved Cooper out of the way, got himself a penalty, and then got slapped with 5 seconds. Cooper dropped 5 seconds from that one, which is interesting, right? So he got run wide, and then got back into it. But if he had that faster car, he would have been able to catch him up, right? But he didn't. So it was a bit odd because I thought that Cooper Murray had a car that was fast enough to go for those results. But at the end there, I don't know what the issue was there. Dave Reynolds and Lee Holdsworth, they were sort of quiet all weekend, and then I think on the Thursday they had issues. I've got some notes. Yeah, had a long pedal in practice one. That's all I've got on there. They're talking about drivers putting down co-drivers putting down a big lap time, or drivers in general putting down a big lap time straight away to basically prove points, say I'm the best driver there is. But they got messed up by the red flag, because of the timing issue, which is a bit annoying. It's just one of those races where there are like so many things that happen to every single driver, where it's like the ones that probably should have got a result. Like obviously it rained and it messed up strategy, and then like all the AAA cars were actually really fast, and so when I think by the time the rain actually came, the AAA cars were all right up there, and then as soon as it rained, it messed up all their strategies. And then they all made mistakes pretty much. Zach Bates just beached it twice. So that was day done for him. Thomas Randall. Actually, you know what? I have a list I want to go through. So I've got my predictions for who was in the shootout and who was in the top 10. And I'm pretty sure a lot of the guys that I've got in the top 10 did not make it in the top 10. So I'll see if I can just tick it off or something. Yeah. Alright, so go to the shootout here. Alright, so we've got Feeney, he was in, Waters was in, Kostecki was in, Matt Payne was not, Stanaway was not, Randall was, Deep Pasquale was, Cam Hill was, Ryan Wood was. So I got 3 wrong. So instead, there was Percat, there was Mostert. I didn't put Mostert in because I guess I've just written him off this year. And there was Cooper Murray. I did think, I had this thought like, oh, maybe Cooper Murray would get in. I put Randall in though, but plenty of people wouldn't have thought he would have got in. And then we got the race, and obviously the race was a crazy race. And if I paid attention to the weather, I probably would have been like, oh yeah, it's gonna rain, blah blah blah. So Feeney actually did end up in the top 10. Kostecki and Hazelwood ended up 18th. Obviously had issues. Waters ended up 12th. Matt Payne obviously won. Will Brown crashed, so 17th. Mostert had an engine failure. Ryan Wood had issues. Where did he finish? 19th. Jimmy Golding was on the podium. Cam Hill. Nick Percat's car died straight away. So Cam Hill was 5th. So I only got 4 right for the top 10 there. There's a lot of guys who, and that's not even all the guys in the shootout either, because I expected Deep Pasquale to have things go wrong. Same as same as Randall. But I don't remember if anything actually went wrong. I had a 5-second penalty, and I guess they just didn't have a car to do the job or something. Something must have happened. Might have got caught out by a safety car or something. What else we got? I had Brown was in there, Waters in there, Kostecki in there, Payne, Stanaway. I expected Stanaway to be in the shootout, but not to do well in the race. But he was running like 5th, and then he crashed. So he ended up not classified. It's crazy the number of cars that ended up not classified, and they were running like high up late in the race. So yeah, he's got 143 what laps? So because he crashed, and even though Anton got are these points? Yeah, hasn't got the points down for some reason. So he did 143 laps. Shouldn't he have been like 20th then? Right? Because Anton's car was in the garage at some point, wasn't it? And same as Bryce Forward and Brad Vaughan, their car just died on them at the start of the race. Trans axle died, I think, straight away. So, yeah. It was a crazy race. Anyway, what else? I was going to do something. I was going to just work on some stuff, actually. It's interesting looking at the shootout. Number of Chevs that weren't fast, that didn't do like incredible laps. But the thing is, you've got to remember, like in a top 10 shootout, they get faster and faster and faster. Right, so you got to look at qualifying, right? That's where you're going to see like how fast they really are. Possibly. Because in a top 10 shootout, the track grips up more and more and more. But also, the last car is always the fastest car. So Brody went last, so he was fastest. But then the track was gripped up as well. And Brock Feeney went out second to last and couldn't do a faster lap than Cam Waters. Anton De Pasquale just couldn't grip up for some reason, just wasn't getting it right. Thomas Randall actually did a pretty good job for his lap. And 2/10 between first and 10th in the shootout in the qualifying, so that's pretty impressive. But I wonder if we've actually had that before. I don't know if that's entirely unprecedented, really. I don't know if we've got V8 Sleuth going on. V8 Sleuth. How the Enduro Cup standings ended up. This will be good. I can't show things in the final standings. So Matt Payne won the Enduro Cup, Cooper Murray second, and Cam Waters third, which is pretty crazy. And I think it's just because the number of people who had a good day on a good day at the Bend didn't have a good day at Bathurst. So, Matt Payne came, I think, third at the Bend, and then they won Bathurst. So obviously they won. Cooper Murray, I think, was 6th or something at the Bend, and then 4th at Bathurst. So that's got them their points. Cam Waters, though, 2nd at the Bend, and then whatever the result was at Bathurst, 12th, I think. Which that really tells you that most of the field. So basically, there were 2 cars that actually had good race days, in the entire Enduro Cup, and out of both races had two good days. Everybody else had something happen. Apart from, not even Cam Hill and Cam McLeod, because McLeod ran off. I think something happened with someone bang into someone as well, I think. Can't think of too many people actually. Yeah, Ryan Wood had an issue. Some of these cars, they were just the ones that ended up having a good day at Bathurst had just didn't have pace at the bend, and yeah. Can't silence the facts. DJ issues stinging Bathurst parody statement. Alright, well let's read that. DJ issues stinging public statement. Parity is the foundation of the Supercars Championship. Without it, there is no competition. For 2 years, Ford teams have demanded engine testing at Bathurst barometric pressures. 2 years, Supercars delayed. Then, before the 2025 race, they finally conducted the testing at their own facility with their own equipment under their own methodology, and the results are irrefutable. Yep. Despite making the same power at sea level, at 92 kPa barometric pressure, the GM engine produces up to an additional 10 horsepower over the Ford engine. Hang on. So same power at sea level. 92 kPa barometric pressure, Bathurst conditions. Engine operates for 94% of a lap. GM engine produces an additional 10 horsepower over the Ford engine above 5,900 RPM. So basically, the GM engine is faster in straights at Bathurst because it's above sea level. Sea level circuits. I wonder how many sea level circuits there are. Probably a lot of the tracks are sea level. Starter explains. Is the bend a sea level track? Makes me wonder. Because when you go to the Riverland, it's not actually down at river level. It's you got to go down to the river. Data explains why the Mustang is slower than the Camaro in the straight line of Bathurst, double the deficit at sea level circuits. The Supercars Director of Powertrains at the facility developed a technical solution to correct this proven disparity. 1mm larger restrictor and revised engine calibration. Supercars have failed to implement it on the basis that GM declined to agree to it. Yeah. GM chose consultation with GM over correction. They chose politics over parity. They confirmed the problem exists. They know how to fix it. They chose not to. Asked stewards whether Supercars' failure to implement the fix breached categories parity obligations and the FIA obligation of fairness under the Supreme Authority to settle any matter which may arise during an event. After considerable deliberation, whilst not offering an opinion as to the merits of the protest, stewards determined that they lacked the necessary jurisdiction to apply the remedy sought. So, we accept their decision, we move on. You've seen the numbers from the speed trap on Conrad Strait. You've heard the promises, now you know the facts. Supercars own testing has validated that there is no parity at Bathurst. But don't we remember in 2024 at the Bathurst 500, at the start of the year, that Larko showed the speeds down the straights, right? And he showed all these different cars achieving all these different speeds, and they said Mostert was fastest at the top, but he also showed like certain Fords were slightly fast down the straights as well. So it's just set up. That's what he kept saying. So why is it different at the 1000? Right? That's where it gets a bit confusing, right? It's just because if it's just barometric pressures, then it should just apply all the time. We know the cost of speaking out, but the integrity of the sport depends on someone being willing to say publicly what Supercars have said themselves in their own report. Didn't come to Bathurst to make excuses, we came to win. Supercars can silence the Vicks, they can't silence the facts. We've been extraordinary today, we will be even more extraordinary tomorrow. Well, it was just unfortunate for some reason. One of them was a driver issue, the other one was like, not even sure what the issue was, but they just weren't able to get the power working from. I don't know if we've got any news about that, but that's a good article there. Bathurst finals calculator for every Bathurst scenario. That's good. Right, so those are all qualified based on championship points. If, everyone starts the DNF. But it was like, if you get first, he would have been Coop Murray would have been the Enduro Cup winner, and I still just like, that's crazy. Because it wasn't even on points, right? Because we had Coop Murray was first, right? And then we had like James Golding second, and then we had hang on, did I take a photo on my phone? I think I might have put it on my Snapchat story. I'm just gonna check that, and then I think it's gonna actually have it was like lap 81 or something like that. That was where I had. Halfway point, let it stay wet. Okay, so this is lap 80. So yeah, Jimmy Golding was first. Ojeda was second. Right. Zach Best was running third. Garth Tander was fourth. Jared Hughes was fifth. Who was Jack LeBrock. And both Erebus cars were fast too. Hang on, we've got Cooper Murray, what? Sixth. Okay, cool. Jack Perkins, seventh. I wish it would actually, this is just like a finals calculator, but it's still fun. Todd Hazelwood, so Brady Kostecki was eighth. And this is in the wet too. This is on lap 80. I thought decided to take a photo. I thought it'd be fun. Ninth was Moffat with Randall. They were doing okay, but I guess they're just dropping. But you definitely do wonder. It's like take a shot every time a Ford passes. Every time a Ford passes a Chev down the straights. So it'd be good to watch like the last several years of Bathurst because I was wondering, you got the bend, right? And Brody and Todd won the bend. And it was like Fords. The top three were Fords. None of the Chevs were actually that fast. But it's just barometric pressure. That's all that is. If that's the only issue, right? So the rest of it is, in theory, fine. So Bathurst is, what is it? Ryan's story said that Ford can win the championship, but they can't win Bathurst because of the barometric pressure. So in theory, there is a Ford fast enough to win the championship, and I've got like the numbers to look at it. Anyway, let's keep going with this. Other people do it a lot better. They don't get distracted. Who was it? The Dadvocate, I think. She's like, oh, we're going to get to the comments later. But I just get distracted, and she gets distracted too. But so that's 9th for Randall. Pye was 10th, so around 10th. Pretty crazy what happened to both Triple Eight cars. Jordan Boys 11th. Macca Jones. They had some good pace. And Dale Wood, which is Kai Allen, was running 12th. The ones that got knocked out, Cameron Hill and Andre Heimgartner. Interesting ones. Declan Fraser, 13th. And Jamie Wink up 14th, which is Brock Feeney. So, Enduro points. So you got Matt Payne as the winner. Because I've just gone through the top 10 there. Then we got what? Holdsworth in 15th, which is Reynolds. 15th. Jack Smith, which is Jackson Evans, 16th. There was a funny error on the screen as well, where they said like there was an incident, investigating an incident between car 16 and car 12, and I'm like, what do you mean there is no car 16? I was trying to think, and I'm like, sometimes I forget things. I'm like, no, I'm so sure there's no car 16. And then I had a look at the standings, and I'm like, oh, they mean like car 26 and car 12. That would make sense because they're next to each other. They were at the time, and they're not. It was possible. I think everybody hadn't pitted yet. That's probably what it was on my photo. And yeah, I was like, let it stay wet, and it did, and it was a crazy race at the end. All right, what else we got? This is after Winterbottom's gone to the fence, after Morris has been turfed up by Cam McLeod. They got a penalty as well. They came 5th and they had a penalty. But so did James Golding. He came 3rd. So, anyway, where are we at? So 15th was Reynolds. Yep, and then Jackson Evans 16th. Harry Jones 18th. Which is Anton. Is that 18th? No, 17th. Cam McLeod was 18th. Lowndes, which is not going to count for that. Ryland Gray's not going to count. Cameron Craig, Nash Morris, so which is Stanaway. 22nd. Winterbottom Waters 23rd. And then I'm not sure if it was 24th and 25th. Mostert, I think his car had died by that point. Because I did have it in my Snapchat that when the safety car happened as well. So that was that one. How many, is this my public story? I don't know. I don't know how to do this. That's why. Yeah, Perkout was out. Mostert was out. Will Davison was out. I think I got all of them, but yeah. This is the way it was looking. But yeah, if there was one point where Cooper Murray could have won, if he won, and no, it didn't happen. Anyway. So be wary if two drivers on the same score. Does not calculate tiebreakers. But yeah. Yeah, so everyone's default points. So, what else? I was messaging a mate being like, oh, what's gonna happen? I was like, the Bathurst gods are smiling down on Cooper Murray today. And then, nope, he got punted. So I'm like, wait, what if the Bathurst gods are smiling on, like, Tander or Lowndes? So, yeah. Inaugural finals contingent locked in. Yeah, so stupid ads. So, yeah, so we got, the ones that got knocked out, Cameron Hill and Andre Heimgartner, because they were already out of it. They needed to have some extraordinary result. The readjusted playoffs point score. They're calling it the playoffs, isn't that funny? Now, as everybody is reset to get 3,000 points. Brock Freeney gets 25 points for winning Sprint Cup, and Matt Payne gets 25 points for winning the Enduro Cup. So everyone gets like a little bit extra points based on their position, which is just like, I just don't see the point of it. If it was me, it'd be a 0. And this is what David Reynolds said in on the driver's thing. What was it called? The driver's seat. No, not the driver's seat. The driver's only podcast. Apparently after Jimmy Golding's podium, he's up to 13th in the championship. That's pretty good. Ahead of Reynolds. Not bad. Perkat's down, obviously. Keep my 18th. There's a few hard luck stories, that's for sure. Only there's drivers with 3+ solo round starts in 2025. 25 bonus points applied to Brock Freeney and Matt Payne. Yeah. That's the point score. What else? What else we got? Where every car will start the race. Where we went through qualifying. A proposal which included allowing Ford to change from a 50mm restrictor to 51mm in line with the proven solution trialled during pre-event barometric pressure testing. And that's all they had, right? So at the rest of the tracks, there's no excuse. That's the implication. Because, now hang on, and I'm going to have to Google some stuff. Mount Panorama Circuit. Yeah, well, how high is it above sea level? Do they have stuff like that? I don't really know how to look at things like that. 149, 33, 23. But no, how high above sea level? That sort of the thing. Race lap 2097. Yeah, that's in the original circuit. The full circuit. Yeah, Christopher Mees. Didn't Christopher Mees die? Did something happen to him? Something happened, right? Hang on. I need to Google Christopher Mees. Huh? Different guy. Avia Supercar fan Chris Mees. No, not the Christopher Mees. It's a guy who probably should have been, or maybe it's just like if you're racing GT, you're not allowed to be a supercars driver. Cars can drive in both directions around the circuit for no charge. So the speed limit of 60 k's is strictly enforced by Bathurst police who regularly patrol the circuit. Be nice to go to Bathurst one day. Yeah, how high above sea level is that's what I mean. Mount Panorama Circuit barometric pressure or height above sea level. Right? Highest point of the map. Yeah, but hang on. So you got the elevation change, vertical difference of 174 meters between the highest and lowest points. Steepest grade. The circuit features grades as steep as 1 in 6.13. Which I think is the cutting. It's like the biggest change in elevation. So 862 meters. And the pit straight, the lowest point is on the pit straight with a total elevation of 174 meters, which would it be like at Murray's or it would be at Hell Corner, right? Because that's where it's lowest. Let's say the start finish line, that's where it's the lowest. I don't know if that's true though. Yeah. But then if I want to duplicate this, and then we'll try and let's find the bend. Asphalt Park, circuit height above sea level. Right. 85 meters elevation change. The bend has elevation that is more subtle, a soft flow that rolls gently across the shallow peaks and troughs of the Maryland limestone on which it's built. Yep. Don't really say much. 4-hour Asian Le Mans series. 4 hours of the bend. Building and hotel. Be good to know if it actually told me, but I don't think it seems to be telling me. So let's just look at tail and bend in general. Tail and bend height above sea level. 21 to 22 meters, right? That's one thing, right? So if we're going to look at it like that, and that's why you look at, Mount Panorama, even in the lowest points, 174 meters above sea level. There is total elevation change. There is a vertical difference of 174 meters. That's what it says. Circuit climbs 174 meters from its lowest to its highest points. But apparently, no, the highest point at Bathurst is under the tree. The highest point of the track. We see that part of the track. There's heaps of photos of it. Just random characteristics. This is 862 meters above sea level. Track's highest point named Brock Skyline. That is not the highest point on the track. It's a load of rubbish. It's just a load of rubbish. Right, but Taylor Bend is 21, 22 meters above sea level. Then you got the highest point of Bathurst is 862. So That's obviously a massive difference. I can't think of any other tracks in supercars that are actually that high off the ground. Even like if you looked at freaking was it Willowbank, which is where Queensland Raceway the southern extent of the locality elevation reaches greater. Willowbank Raceway being 45 meters above sea level, right? So if we're going to have, I'm going to get an Excel spreadsheet going and we'll just work some stuff out. Local elevation using tools like Google Maps. Maybe I'll just do that then. You know what? Maybe I won't. I might stop in a little while and start just watching movies or something as well if no one jumps on and says hi. So you got Bathurst. Was that 892? Was that 892? Twenty-one to 22 meters. Yeah, 862. Highest point. Alright, then you got the bend, which is 21 to 22 meters. Then you've got freaking, Queensland Raceway, which is, what did it say, 45 meters above sea level. Right. We could look at Adelaide, which is actually quite close to sea level. But I might stop sharing because otherwise I'm going to accidentally dox myself. So we'll have a look at what other tracks. We're at Adelaide, so if I just Google it, go on Google Maps, like they say, and I look for Adelaide Street Circuit. Alright, go to here, and apparently it has like a button that you can muck around with topographic things. Not helpful. Measure distance. I want to know. Right. How do I find it? Oh, it's just got a location. Does it have like topographic buttons? Go away, Google Maps. That's annoying as hell. Back to where we were. Yeah, that's the paddock, and then you also got this thing that rotate the view. It's 2017. Oh, that's nice. Mobile 1 HSV. GRM. That Monster Energy Tickford. Good times. I didn't go in 2017, so I got no idea. Expand. It's not about imagery, is it? Like someone's like, oh, you can use Google Maps to. It's not really about that. I don't know how to use Google Maps. Yeah, you know what? How long have I been going for? An hour, roughly. I might give it a rest. Have a lie down. Hopefully my phone's got enough battery in it. It's got heaps of battery. Cool. Yeah, I think that's it. We've got a little bit of stuff that we learned, stuff that we read, and we'll come back next weekend, and I'll have my notes about Bathurst, and some people have dropped in just now, and I was about to wrap up, but if anyone wants to talk about Bathurst, we can talk about it. Hey, dude, did you watch Bathurst? Did you watch, or it's just saying hi, and then he's gone, possibly. I don't know. Sometimes when people are watching, the number goes up and down, so I can't tell. Yeah, what was I doing? Got what? No, the $4,400 protest fee for DJ Howe. That's nuts. Boop. So then it's supposed to force the recommended Mustang parity adjustments to occur. After a half-hour hearing, based on an allegation that failed to act on a recommendation to allow adjustments to be made, the relief it seeks is for the stewards to make an order or direction that via Supercars allows that to happen at this event. We have to have to regard to the Article 1.1 of the ISC, Authority of the Stewards, more specifically to the allowable powers. Consider the relief sought by the President is not within the authority or allowable powers of the stewards under those provisions. So yeah, they couldn't do anything about it. Even if the alleged breach is one that falls with the ambit of the right to protest. Falls with the ambit of the right to protest. Or the analogous provision in B4.4 of the Operations Manual, which we do not accept it is. With the ambit of the right. And even if the alleged breach of the rules is proved, which make no finding about. We consider the relief sought by the protest beyond the powers of stewards. This reason is good reason to deem the protest inadmissible. As noted earlier, the parties to a contractual agreement outside the scope of the sporting and technical regulations of the championship event, TRC, which governs the relationship of the parties for how the category is to be managed, administered. Parties confirmed there are dispute resolution provisions in that agreement that have not yet been activated. The stewards consider this as the correct mechanism for the protester to seek the relief it desires. They're not yet been active. So there are other ways that DJR could actually pursue this issue. Well, there you go, right? Attended by Mark Fanning and Paul Riordan on behalf of DJR, Tim Holden and Tim Edwards on behalf of Supercars, plus Stuart Christmas Mark, Steve Lisk, and Trisha Davison. Problem is we just didn't get a race. We didn't get that race. We may have done because we did see some dry running. But that's just saying, the cars are slower down the straights, right? But that's if you're going up or down the straights. So, I don't know. Notebook Sunday edition. Early risers, oh my god. The main Harris Park entry gates. 5:45 a.m. Keep in mind this is 6 hours before the race starts. There's some very keen race fans. It's insane. Changing face of TV technology. Is this the notebook or... Oh, here's some photos. Todd Hazelwood flag in. These damn ads. Freaking Timo, man. Todd Hazelwood flag in corner of Ford Freeway and Mustang Avenue, Mount Panorama, Bathurst. Leo Gagan Avenue, Mount Panorama, Mustang Avenue. And lots of forwards on there. It'd be great to go to Bathurst one day. There's like a lot of really die-hard people. What's that? The man who says his wife can't take a joke forgets that she took him. There's a lot of empty beer cans. Some very cool cars. And dust. Possibly. Ice. Ice ute. Lots and lots of ice. Yeah, can imagine an emergency like that. Lots of tents. Tent City. Does anyone have fireworks different to our DMs? TIA, not a cop. It's the Mount Kenora, not an officially authorised child mining service. The playground has a distinct motorsport theme and is a hit with kids camped across the mountain. Oh yeah. Got the Dunlop Bridge. And some really nice scenery. Yeah, it'd be great if I could click on any of them. To Mountain Straight, to Conrod Straight. In loss between sessions, it's hard to imagine an event of this magnitude is ongoing. The side of the mountain they don't show you. It's the other side of the mountain of Mount Panorama away from the racetrack. So it's the Bathurst Waste Management Centre. Interestingly, it gets precious little coverage from the establishing chopper shots. Yeah, that is interesting. A quarry. Since we're sure that the racetrack above doesn't topple down the hillside. One of the interesting uses of the quarry of the years was it's hosting a cold chisel choir boys concert at the riot-riddled 1983 Easter motorcycle event. Yeah. Allows you $7 to see those bands. That's how much it cost in 1983. Jesus. And then obviously we got some great cars. Is that Logomo Paul Morris Diet Coke Commodore? I think it was in a roaring trade this week, so I wonder why. Current lineup. A lot of really good cars. Is that Peter Brock's Repco Challenge thing? At the end of support category sessions and races, cars directed off the circuit with this handy arrow left. There's a bunch of on the right, the lads giving a helping hand with some signs they brought from home. Oh, I love that. That's brilliant. You're aspire to be the genuine official of the circuit during the TV Merchant show. Shout out to Sector Marshal Tony putting up with the help. Following up from yesterday's report on the Mountain Straight Gate arrow helpers. Funny thing is, I swapped the usual heavy wooden board for one of the arrows. The official arrow is with them until Sunday. Oh, that's good. Media logistics. Volunteers get to cut a whole lap on the track. Weather tech. Here's the thing, like all of a sudden, yeah, that's what I thought. Reach from NASCAR saying its primary sponsor WeatherTech activated Bathurst this week. By all accounts, the $20 t-shirts didn't last long. $20 t-shirts. Yeah, no shit. Alright, I think we're done. I think we're done a bit, and that's what we're gonna do for today's stream. It was chill, and I'm puffed. I'm done. So, bye-bye.